Thanks to the EA Creator Network for providing me free codes for The Sims 4. My opinions are my own. Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another update overview for The Sims 4. This one is for July 2025, the pre-Enchanted by Nature patch. And there turned out to be more things than I thought, including many things they didn't even bother putting in the patch notes, to the point where I don't think it's like, oh, it's a surprise. No, they seem to have legitimately dropped the ball here, so I'll include as many things as I can. There may even still be other things that haven't been discovered yet. But for now, let's get into what we have here. First, we have improvements for the collections menu, sim inventory, and the notebook. So with the inventory, there's a few new things. There's new ways to sort, so you can sort your Sims inventory by new. You can also filter them by price, filter, crafted quality, and rarity. And it also applies to object inventory such as fridges, bookcases, and other storage. There's also a spoiled stack that is really good, so it's easier to find spoiled foods now. It has a red background to indicate that they've gone bad. The household collections menu now looks totally different and much better in my opinion. And you can also sort by rarity, name, recent, bonus items, and missing. There are so many collections in the game now, especially if you have at least most of the packs. So this is much welcome. It makes me want to collect more stuff. The notebook now has a completely different design. Instead of looking more like a notepad, it really does look like an actual notebook. So now you can sort through various categories of things that your sim has found so far, and displays much of the same information that we've had before, but just looks a whole lot better now. And you can also easily access your sim stats, which is something I keep forgetting is a thing. They haven't updated that in quite a long time. And you can also easily get to household collections by clicking on the little gem icon there. And one other interesting thing is that you have 250 characters to write down notes. So you could use this in various ways. Like you could have maybe a little to-do list, maybe just jot down things that your sim has already found or things that you really want to have your sim find in the near future, or maybe even as an individual sim biography, because we have the bios for households that you can put in the Manage World screen, but not for individual sims. However, though, information from the notebook that you write in there does not transfer to gallery uploads, so just keep that in mind. So unfortunately, it's not a complete check off of my wish list, I guess, for individual sim bios, but it's close. At least now I might actually use the notebook because I hardly ever use it. Moving on to build mode, we can now have glass walls, though they actually work a little differently than you might expect. They're not objects, but they're wallpapers. So if you go under wall patterns and then in the miscellaneous category, you will find a few different glass wallpapers that you can apply that does actually make the walls see-through. So you can see the various patterns there. They all come in the same sort of colors for each one. And this is cool. Like, you could have a entirely glass house if you want to, but I think primarily people will use this to make better looking greenhouses. We got glass roofs. I think it was around the time of the Seasons expansion pack with that patch, but now that we can have fully glass walls without having any gaps or anything like that, this is definitely an improvement. By the way, while I forgot to show them off in my footage, they do work on curved walls. And yeah, there's just a little example of if you were to actually apply a glass wall to your house. Under the roof decorations category, you can now find that a bunch of plants that were already in the game are under there because you can place them on the roof. And when you go to the catalog entry, it will say roof placeable on it if you are in fact able to place the plants on the roof, since it doesn't apply to every single plant in the game. And your mileage may vary. Like on this roof, it's pretty good since it's on a fairly flat angle. But with curved roofs, your mileage may vary. You may not be able to place them on, even if you use the Move Objects cheat. That's all the features that they listed in the patch notes. There's a whole bunch of fixes, most of what we already talked about in the laundry list video. But they have fixed some other things. Like, yeah, they did fix the weather indoors with seasons, finally. That was a thing for about half a year now. With high school years, now graduation and prom should actually appear on your teens' calendars. And with the goals display panel when you go to class, that has now been reverted to the active career format. And now they also are able to ride the pier attractions while on a date. And same thing for the photo booths. Now they actually work while on dates. With Get Famous, they finally fixed the style influencer careers so that Sims don't wear really strange outfits to work. And they finally added the missing swatches for the 2 acting career reward hairstyles, because we got some hair colors a few years ago, but then for some reason those 2 just did not have them, but now that's finally been fixed. It's also worth mentioning that now the alien bassinet from Get to Work, as well as the party bush that's seen in Mount Komorebi in Snowy Escape, are both available in build mode. They were even marked as new the first time I opened the game after installing the update. Those are just some highlights. Of course, I will have a link in the video description below to the patch notes in full. But now for the hidden patch notes, you could say. A bunch of stuff that for some reason they did not list. So now with gardening, that's been improved a little bit because you now have the options to fertilize all and evolve all. I thought that was already in the game for years now, but turns out it was just a mod that I had. But that is really handy. And when you hover over a plant, it now shows the status of their watering, whether that's good or not, and then whether the fertilizer has been depleted or not. In Create a Sim, there's now a new head decorations category. With base game, there's only this bow, which is really cute. It comes in a bunch of different colors, patterns, but your mileage may vary depending on the hairstyle that you use, because it clips pretty badly with some, but looks great on others. I'm really shocked they did this, because I feel like in the earlier days of The Sims 4, they've said like, oh no, we won't do this because then there'll be clipping and such, so we won't go to that effort. But I've changed their mind, I guess. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they add. I'm assuming Enchanted by Nature will have some new stuff there. And then under body accessories, we have skin effects. The only thing we have right now is some body gloss that makes your Sims look much shinier. Well, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Something I would have only expected to have in the game with custom content. But yeah, I don't know if I'll really use this very often. It's kind of goofy, but maybe on some supernatural themed Sims, it could make sense. It also has the sliders available that you would normally see on things like makeup and skin tones. Hue and saturation don't seem to do anything from what I can tell, but opacity and glossiness are things that you can change as well, which definitely change that look up. So yep, that's now a thing that we have. Also, with occult eyes, they are now available on human Sims. And with the vampire teeth, they're also available on human Sims. Same goes for the pointy ears. I wonder if this was even intentional? I don't know. It's just so weird because they didn't put that in the patch notes, so it's really hard to say for sure. The base game eyelashes now have a bunch more colors than we used to, so that is good. I don't know if I'll really use the other colors too often, but it is nice to have those options there. There's a couple new pairs of French tip fingernails where most of their swatches are meant to give sort of like a dirtier look. So it's kind of like to go with gardening and maybe revisiting that in Enchanted by Nature, but there are clean swatches available as well. It is strange, when I clicked on the second new pair of fingernails, it got rid of the body gloss. I don't know if that was a legitimate glitch or from a mod, though I haven't really reinstalled too many of my mods just yet. They've updated the body hair texture, so now it looks better than before, because it used to look like as if it was drawn on by a Sharpie. I wonder if they got Lumia Sims to update it, because he's now been working with Maxis for a number of years, and I was hoping they would have gotten him to design the body hair originally when they added it just before high school years. But yeah, now it does remind me more of his body hair custom content. The werewolf icon in Create a Sim has also been changed. Kind of random, but yeah, it does look a little bit better than the old one. One last thing is that now the gnomes move around on the spot, and they do this quite often. It's another thing that I'm not sure if this is a bug or intentional, because then what if you want to have a gnome that's purely decorative and does not move around at all? This would get annoying pretty quickly. And also, there is some lore they released in a new Enchanted by Nature blog post that states that the gnomes are supposed to be inanimate unless fairy magic temporarily permits them to move around. I guess just not counting the whole Harvest Fest stuff with seasons. But yeah, that's like another thing that makes me think, okay, I don't think this is supposed to be a thing, and that's why it was not in the patch notes. That's basically it for this update as far as I know. I think my biggest problem with this update, besides the new bugs that have popped up, is that they didn't say almost half of what's in here. I mean, it's not unusual for them to accidentally leave out that, oh, they added some swatches to a couple of objects, but wow, it's like there's just so much this time around. Very strange, very strange. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty good update. Unfortunately though, yes, there are some new major bugs that have popped up. The one I've heard about the most is the fact that when you try to live drag dirty plates and cups into a sink or dishwasher to get rid of them, it doesn't work anymore. I am able to put things in the fridge still, but yeah, apparently the same thing also happens when you try to drag clothes into a laundry hamper. However, you can still click on dishes to make Sims clean them up, so you'll just have to play it Sims 1 and Sims 2 style before we got the live drag feature with the Sims 3. Another big one is that pregnancy tests can't be taken anymore, and with businesses and hobbies, the whiteboard no longer works because they now disappear from your lots, and if you try to place down a new one, there will be a script call error. So some pretty nasty glitches there. So as usual with expansion pack launches these days, we're gonna need a hotfix or 3. It's not unusual for a game to launch with bugs, but it's really annoying how often the severity of these bugs are just really bad. Anyways, I'm going to leave off this video here, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on this update, and I'll have the patch notes linked in the video description. And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!